The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting, and a copy of same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. The meeting will come to order. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Here.
Ms. Talby?
Here.
We have before us the minutes of our October 16th meetings. Are there any additions, corrections?
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
A second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
We'll now open for public comment. We have 3 minutes to speak on any subject.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Commissioners, I call upon you both to do what is morally and ethically right. As the dear solicitor mentioned, we are under the Walsh Act. It's a fine act, and it has avenues of redress for abuses and misuses of authority. It is abundantly clear that the mayor has overstepped his bounds and misused and abused his right to solely appoint members to the School Board of Education. I call upon both commissioners to introduce an ordinance to modify and to change the process of selection from mayor appointee to elected appointee. Let the people speak. Let the people vote. You can do this by ordinance because the mayor is going to become more and more conflicted, more and more compromised as we go forward in the attempt to right-size our school system. Presently, taxpayers are made to bear the cost of $13 million each and every year. This is a phenomenal sum of money. When you divide K to 12 into the 13 million, that's 480 into 13 million, you'll see that it comes well over $27,000 per pupil per year. Commissioner Blumberg can tell you that you could send more than three students to his alma mater. His high school can well educate a fine Jesuit education for $8,000 a head. And that's why he could say, you saved the best for last, making reference to the marriage feast of Cana. That education is invaluable because it gives him the broad perspective to see right from wrong. The mayor can't see right from wrong. He's unable to delineate between self-interest and conflict of interest. He thinks they're antonyms. They're synonyms. And it's time for this board. If you remember, Commissioner Blumberg at one point,
seconds, John.
we'll use them most judiciously, Mayor.
Thank you, John.
Just keep your eyes on the watch because this is a little bit beyond your ken. Commissioner Blumberg, if it's not going to be an exercise of the Walsh prerogative to make school board members elected, then I would strongly suggest we have a revised method, and that is that the mayor puts forth a minimum of 5 candidates. And on the voting of these candidates, only the 2 commissioners vote, and the mayor most properly must and should abstain due to overriding conflicts of interest. This must be addressed. And if you don't address it, you're doing a disservice to the taxpayers of Margate, as well as the parents. Because now we're stuck with an inexperienced superintendent who has to be mentored at taxpayer expense. This is unconscionable, this is unreasonable, and it's intolerable. And you two can't sit there like a lump on the log and not take any action. Exercise the Walsh Act that the city solicitor refers to. You have great power in your hands. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sharon Simon, 424 North Thurlow Avenue. Sitting here thinking that maybe one of the state's strategies coming out and saying that the city already gave the property or that they have it is try to get the people with riparian rights to think that the city gave up the property so that they should. So I was hoping that maybe we could put something on the website with the dunes to say that what was reported was not correct, that the city is not, and our strategy is to, stand strong, work together, and that, they have questions about whether the city did or did not give the property, that they could call somebody. I know that the state has certainly overreached. I don't know if it's the law firm or just an overzealous paralegal, but people who are 2 and 3 houses from the beachfront are getting letters, and they're scary letters. And so, these people don't know whether they have to spend money with lawyers or so on and so forth. So if you could do that, I think that would be, Mayor Becker, is that something that...
I like that idea.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you do. Do you have to vote on it, or you just can go with it?
Okay, so it's good by me, too.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Commissioner Chavi? I don't want to leave you out. Okay, great. The comment was made by Commissioner Chabi. They applaud our efforts in the group and Margate Citizens Questioning Beach Project. I just want to say that I heard somebody speak, a really well-known politician, and he said the difference between a good decision and a bad decision for some people is how many votes it gets. And people are so confused. Vote yes for no, vote no for yes. They were left, based on the comments that you repeated from Mr. Dixon, that there'd be absolutely no costs involved in this project, which I think we all know is not the case. And people are just confused. They didn't understand why they were voting again. They weren't happy they were voting again. They don't really understand what a legal challenge is versus a technical. And the reality is that had to be a non-binding referendum because, as you all well know, voters can't decide whether the city should spend money on a legal defense. That's a decision that has to be made by the commission regardless of what the outcome is of a non-binding referendum. So we all kind of got the feeling that, Mayor Becker, you just wanted a pass, so that if people voted and said, don't challenge, you could go, whew, I can't challenge now. The voters told me not to. I'm glad you didn't get that pass, but it was a lot of work. And Dan and I and MCQBP have spent long, long hours, giving up a lot from our personal lives, trying to educate people, and really that's the commission's job. To educate them. What does the project really cost, or what may it cost?
15
What are the
seconds.
positives, what are the negatives? Are we looking at different alternatives? You didn't do that. You didn't do that twice. In fact, the second time, you put out misleading information, and I believe that's not only disingenuous, but unconscionable. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So much for we're all on the same team.
You know what, I just want to make a comment that I think, let's let the past, be, and let's move forward. Don't bring up all this icky stuff. I mean, we just said that we're united, okay, and let's move forward, please.
Agreed.
And I make a motion to close public comment.
I second that.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Torby?
Yes.
Okay. We will go to public comment on resolutions.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, this is not a time to multitask when you're ready to have undivided attention. Would you peruse resolution number 223?
Yes, John.
Mayor, you know, it doesn't pay to be litigious. I think the last time I checked on that legal meter that you had the taxpayers pick up the tab for, it was well over $250,000. As I said to a number of people in town, the sweet spot wasn't that much higher. And yet now, we see that after this gentleman has built the kazoo out of the city, now all of a sudden they want to reach a settlement. Don't you think that's a tad tardy, Mayor? Don't you think this is ineptitude and bungling on a grand scale by you and Madam Commissioner? And that really, there should be, from the get-go, a willingness to sit down and hammer out a settlement. This should have been done from day one. And by the way, Mayor, what's the amount of this settlement? Numerically speaking, dollars and cents, Mayor? And what's the total number, including legal fees of all sorts and kinds? Of course, we have it on the record that there was no referral fee on this $250,000. That's a blessed relief. But what's the number, Mayor? The combined total. I realize the numeracy is pandemic in this town, with 25% of the 8th graders unable to perform math proficiently due to the incompetent, inept instruction. But let's get a number on the table, Mayor.
John, that...
Maybe Mr. Deeney can give us a number. Mr. Deeney?
Mayor, I'd like to caution you. You have not yet officially accepted this settlement agreement.
You'll have that information tomorrow, John.
You
if everything goes
gotta
as
wait
well.
till you vote on it.
Okay.
Well, if there's an execution, then we can have that number at the end of tonight. I'll stick around for a few extra minutes,
Yes, you
Counselor.
could stick around and
Yes.
possibly get it then.
Or we can read it in the current, if there's a little bit of curiosity over there, because this is an enormous amount of money being squandered due to gross stupidity, Mayor.
Yes, it is.
That stupidity on your part and from your vindictive vendetta against city employees. This is intolerable, Mayor. You've got to straighten this out, and we want to see no more conflict of interest, starting with your role as the head of public safety. It's a conflict of interest, Mayor. It's an ethical violation. Let's straighten it out before the election.
Anyone else? Resolutions only.
Number 220, and if I missed something, it was explained, I apologize, but what is the contract for professional benefit consultants for 1 year, not to exceed $12,500?
Tom?
That's the city's health insurance brokers. We split the contract between the two of them. And it is, the total amount is significantly lower than the standard, the norm.
Thank you very much. And in regards to your comment for all being on the same team, I am on the same team. I just think that the team of not giving voters accurate information by the commission and not educating them is not being on the same team. So they're not on my team. But we don't need to comment on that.
You just can't resist.
I can't. But you're going to be next. One of these meetings, I'm going to allocate all my comments to you, Solicitor Abbott, because I don't want you to feel left out.
Any other comments? Motion to close. Oh, resolution, Steve?
No, there's 3 of these, sir. I should have spoken earlier.
I'll be brief.
Let's see if...
Very.
Let's ask the...
I
Maury, you all right?
goodbye me.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
Goodbye, May.
I really have a problem with
Give his name and address.
insults. I'm really,
Steve, can you give your name and address, please?
oh, I'm sorry. Steve Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. As I spoke last time, I'm having a real difficulty with insults from this microphone aimed at the commission. It's totally unnecessary to the arguments being presented. I would like to see this room filled with Margate residents who I've heard from others, not my own experience, don't wish to come here because they don't like the insults. I think everybody who generally comes to these meetings knows the position of those people who throw insults. We've heard them for, 4 or 5 years now. I don't think it's necessary. We could actually just number the insults, A, B, and C, and that particular person who wants to use it could say insult A, and then we could just move on.
You did that. You have a sheet. Where's your sheet? It wasn't on insults, though. I remember it.
Yeah, I remember it
It was
too.
great. Yeah, I like the idea.
So really and truly, without pointing a finger at anybody, I'm truly urging that we make an effort to try and reach out to the rest of the community, the 2,000 people who voted, and try to get them here. And we could also at the same time encourage the publication of a list of insults, and we could just hear A, B, C, and D, rather than having to listen to the insult. I thank you for your forbearance.
Thank you, Steve.
If I could just make a comment and say, on what Steve said, sometimes the lack of respect and the decorum in this room is embarrassing. Not just as a public official, but just as a person. It's a shame, and I would love to see if we can change that for the positive. I mean, we can disagree, as the mayor always says, but we can disagree with respect.
What's very obvious in America today is that 50% of Americans believe one thing and 50% virtually think another, as we just saw in our elections, except that by and large, the Republicans did extraordinarily well in the United States government elections and gubernatorial elections. But I expect when I come to a meeting like this to hear various points of view. But I think we can do it with greater decorum, and I think the community will benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I'd just like to agree with Steve Altman. We can agree to disagree. It's not necessary to insult people. And if you have a strong argument, you don't need to insult people. So let's go with the strength of the argument and leave the insults somewhere else, because really I don't like to hear it either. I think a lot of people don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to close public comment.
I just want to say for the record that Mr. Altman was not speaking about me, and so while you may think the comments I make are insults, they are not. They are observations, they are feelings, and just because I feel that I wouldn't need to be so strong in my comments is if you treated the voters in the community with the same respect and level of common decency that you want us to treat you with. It's frustrating, even though you aren't the Christie people and standing up and saying, you're stupid, certain things that you do and put out and then expect us to vote on is in a way calling us stupid. At least that's how we feel as voters. So if you can give us the respect, then we could give it right back to you. Thank you.
Motion to close public comment, please.
I'll make a motion that we close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom?
Resolution 213, authorizing the payment of claims and payroll.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
214, authorized transfers from the 2014 budget.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
215, requests approval of the DLGS to establish a dedicated trust by rider for accumulated absences.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
216, authorize the CFO to cancel unexpended balance of emergency appropriations.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
217, authorize the CFO to cancel appropriation balances in the 2014 current fund operating budget.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Talby?
Yes.
218 is the request for an approval of item of revenue and appropriation for body armor grant.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Talby?
Yes.
219, authorize renewal of liquor license 012006.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Talby?
Yes.
220 is awarding a professional service contract to professional benefits consultant for 1 year in the amount of $12,500.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Talby?
Yes.
221 awards contract to Innovative Risk Solutions for 1 year in the amount of
Make that
$12,500.
motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
222 confirms acceptance of a contract with Woodruff Energy for a 2-year period for natural gas.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
223 authorizes execution of settlement in the matter of Hilton Reverse Margate.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
224 authorizes an executive session per NJSA 10:4 for the Quincy Avenue and Beach appraisal or sale of municipal assets.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
And then 225 is another executive session for pending litigation, Cabo versus Margate.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
And the minutes of these sessions, both of them will be available at such time as the confidentiality of these matters is no longer required.
Thank you. We will go into executive session. If anyone cares to wait, you will have to do it outside.
Counselor, the dollar amount?
It hasn't been signed yet, it's got to be signed.
Wait a minute, record. All right, we're good.
It's 6:07, we're coming out of executive session. We need a motion to reconvene our regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Scott, you want to make a comment on, for the record, on executive session?
I will make a comment. This is for the record. We've come out of executive session on 2 matters. We had the potential purchase of the beachfront at Quincy Avenue. The governing body has been appraised of the current status, and overuse the word appraised. We have the appraisal that's been distributed, and we will go forward, and with your concurrence, we will continue our negotiations with the adjoining property owner, who's represented by Attorney Zellner. Do we all agree on that?
I agree.
Yes?
Yes.
That's great. The second aspect was the matter of Cabo versus the city of Margate and the developer of a house on North Quincy Avenue. The address is what, Tom, exactly? I
forget.
just put this away.
431.
431 North Quincy. And you've authorized me to go back and attempt to settle this matter with the cap. I'm going to keep that confidential now because it's part of our negotiation.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Thank you all for being.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Mary, you need to sign the